Well, thank you, Dave, very much indeed. Yes, thank you, Dave, very much indeed. Yes, yes, very entertaining. Right, to the high spot of the evening, if that's the right word to describe it. Dave has been working hard on this performance. None of us have seen it yet. He tells us the only person that's seen it is his lounge wall. And he did say, do say to the audience out there that there might be a little bit of swearing. I said, well, not to worry. I said, I'm sure they all watch BBC Two, so they should be all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, without more ado, put your hands together for Mr. Dave Scott. Yeah!
Well, I did ask for a live audience, but it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Beggars can't be choosers. I saw some interesting graffiti the other day. I was in Exeter, and a big, long brick wall, and someone had written across it, the entire length of it, in big white letters, it said, "Andy is a nonce." And I thought, oh, that's a shame, isn't it? Kids today, they can't even spell Prince. That's good, that's good. Enough for the opening gag. Bonus. Yeah, this might go all right then. Or we've peaked. That's the other scenario, which would be a shame, because there's quite a bit to get through. Slightly worried that people are going to go home tonight. It's like, how was it? Well, it was all right. It started off funny. There was a good joke to start off with, and then I've got to be honest, I nodded off after that. I woke up, people were going home. So, my first ever time doing this, so I'm not even bothered if you laugh. Just please stay awake to the end. That's all I'm asking. I'm going to struggle, but I'll soldier on. All joking aside, thank you very much for coming out this evening, giving up your evenings to come out and see my little turn. It's nice to be here. Although, let's be honest, after the couple of years we've had, it's just nice to be anywhere. Just out of the house is good, really. You know, highlight of my week for a long time was taking the bins to the end of the drive. I was starting to get genuine anxiety about what to wear. Green bins! I haven't got the right shoes. And I must be honest, I don't normally worry about what to wear because my wife usually dresses me. So if I do die on my arse this evening, it won't be because my top and my trousers didn't coordinate. So I'll take some comfort from that. I was quite confident in the ensemble I'd picked out when I first came downstairs, but I just got greeted by the look, you know. Is that what you're wearing? And we all know, lads, it sounds like it, but it's not a question. What it means is, go back upstairs, take all that off, and when my programme's finished, I'll be up to sort your life out. Thank you, darling. But yes, it's been a very strange period. There was a lot of fear to start off with when COVID first kicked off. I think a lot of people were genuinely scared that it was the end of days and all that was going to be left would be Will Smith and a dog. But we endured, we soldiered on, and it's been quite a British apocalypse when you think about it, really. It's consisted mainly of moaning and queuing, which are the two things that we excel at as a nation. It's been our time to shine, really. That's why they've never made any kind of sort of big budget, Hollywood-style, end-of-the-world blockbusters set in the UK, because it just wouldn't be particularly cinematic. What would you have? You'd have a couple of hours of a weak government rolling out increasingly ineffective preventative measures, while a small minority of the population whinge about having to put a mask on when they go in Lidl. Not a thriller minute. I can't see The Rock rushing to sign up for that one. I actually felt really quite intimidated in the early days of lockdown and COVID, but when I saw how productive all my friends were being during the time. You know, I had mates that while they were in lockdown and furlough, they redecorated their entire houses and landscaped their gardens. I had one buddy, while he was furloughed, he learnt to play the ukulele. I grew a beard. That was my sole lockdown achievement. I grew facial hair. In fact, actually, calling it an achievement is slightly overselling it because that implies intent. I didn't so much grow a beard as just not be bothered to shave. There is a difference. And And the government were hilarious during the whole thing with their little information bulletins that came out. They were really informative, weren't they? Stuff like, don't go out, unless you've got to go out, in which case go out, but don't go out. Can I go out? I just don't understand, Some businesses weren't considered essential, so they had to close. Other businesses were considered essential, so they could remain open. But how what was essential was determined seemed to make no sense. For a long time, you couldn't go in a restaurant or a pub and have a meal, but you could go to Hobbycraft and buy some decoupage paper. Now, I don't know, but is there a big call for decoupage paper during your average pandemic? I don't know, this is my first one. Were people stockpiling it as an alternative to loo roll, perhaps? I wouldn't advise that, by the way. It's not really fit for that purpose. You'd end up wallpapering your arse. Your butt cheeks would look like 2 Easter eggs. Terrible. I can't help thinking that history would have played out very, very differently if the government of the time had the same kind of wishy-washy attitude back during the Blitz. Can you imagine that? If old Winnie and his mob come on the wire like, everybody's got to put their lights out. Except you. You can have your lights on. And you can have your lights on. What? Oh yes, well I suppose if they've got their lights on then you can have, pardon? Your mum? Yes, your mum can have a light. We'd all be speaking German. Badly. Yeah. I think more than anything else, the pandemic, indeed, the whole lockdown, all that, it's just brought home to us what a nation of whinging, entitled little bitches we've turned into. When you compare to what previous generations had to go through, we've got people going, I can't have my friends round for a barbecue. Well, really? That's the worst thing happening in your day? Oh, sucks to be you, doesn't it? Your grandparents had their houses flattened by the Germans, all right? Houses gone. You're crying because Gavin and Yvonne can't come round for a halloumi burger. Is there a more millennial problem? People's attitudes during the whole pandemic are just hilarious. People walking around going, oh, COVID, it's all a conspiracy. Really? What, really? Honestly, the governments of the world who can't get together at the best of times to thrash out simple economic policy, they're all going to get together in a big secret cabal and come up with COVID. Well, where are they going to do this? What, the back room of a pub? Secret underground bunker? Space base on the moon? What? It's your flight of fancy, Buttercup, you tell me. Nonsense. I'm not going to wear a mask because it's an infringement of my human rights. Yeah. Really? You're going to bang that drum, are you? Okay, I'll bite. You know that sweatshirt you're wearing? That very expensive polo shirt? You are aware that that was probably made by a small child handcuffed to a basement somewhere in Bangladesh? Since we're talking about human rights, I thought I'd bring it up. And my personal favourite, and someone actually said this to me, I'm not going to get vaccinated because what they're actually doing is fitting you with a GPS chip. What? Do you really believe that? Oh yeah, no one's putting a tracking device in my brain. Well, I wouldn't worry about that, mate, because they don't vaccinate you in the arse. And why would anybody want to know where you are? Why would anyone want to track you unless to make sure you're as far away from them as possible? Nonsense. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah. But no resolve of modern generations compared to those that went before. How long did the first lockdown last? What, 4 months? 4 months, that was it. 4 months before they bowed to pressure and let us all back in Nando's. Wouldn't have happened previously. I can't imagine Anne Frank coming down out of the loft just because she really wanted a KFC. I don't think it would have happened. Imagine them all up there and well, obviously I don't want to go to a death camp, but I really want a Zinger burger. It's unlikely. I would have thought she'd have her priorities slightly more in line, live first, fast food later. The ironic thing is, I've been to Anne Frank's house in Amsterdam and there is actually a KFC 100 yards up the road. She should have just rung them. They probably would have delivered if she'd asked nicely. What's that? You want a bargain bucket? Yeah? Hot wings? Sorry, did you say? I can't really hear you. Why are you whispering? Yeah, it's been a very peculiar time. But then time is peculiar for me in general, really, because I'm middle-aged now. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that as well, because I know that's a lot of energy for middle-aged people to expend at short notice. You're going to regret that later when you're trying to get up the stairs, shooting your load now. You'll be there like, oh, I shouldn't have cheered. Oh. Can you just lob the duvet down here, darling? I'm not even going to make the landing. Oh. Yeah, middle-aged, that was a surprise. I wasn't expecting that. I knew that I was getting on a bit because I can remember a time before pulled pork. That will age you. Pulled pork? How did that even become a thing? Who came up with the concept of pulled? Who went on Dragon's Den with that? That's what I want to know. I would have loved to have been there at the inception of pulled pork. I would have loved to have been there that evening in that restaurant when that person was presented with a pork steak and they went, garçon, can I get another fork? I've got this crazy idea. So yes, middle-aged. And I know that I'm middle-aged because I had, past tense, my middle-aged epiphany. As I'm sure everybody did, because the middle-age epiphany happens to everybody. There's no escaping it. It's inevitable. It can take many forms, but it's basically that moment in your life. It's an event, or something someone says, or something happens, where you suddenly realise, oh shit, I'm middle-aged. Mine happened to me at the barber's, which as you can appreciate was quite some time ago. I thought I'd get that in before somebody mentioned it. Yeah. I've actually started using a caffeine-based shampoo now because it's supposed to promote hair growth. Rubbish, doesn't work. All that does happen is what hair I have got left now just stays awake all night. So, just make a note of that one. They clapped at the shampoo joke. Smiley face. My middle-aged epiphany happened to me at the barber's. I've been going to the same barbers for about 10 years or something like that. It's a ridiculous amount of time. I've been going there religiously. And it was always the same, you know, I'd go in, I'd sit in the chair, he'd start clipping away, he'd talk me about football, I'd pretend to be remotely interested. Then, he'd show me the back of my head, I'd give him some money and I'd leave with less hair than when I went in. You know, there was an established routine, everybody knew where they stood. And this one day, I go in, sit down, we're off as normal. You know, no indications this is going to be anything other than the normal haircut. He starts babbling on about Arsenal. And then we're getting to the bit where he would normally show me the back of my head. I was getting myself ready to leave. And suddenly, instead, he just leant in, really close, and dropped his voice to a conspiratorial whisper, and went, "Would you like me to do your eyebrows?" Oh shit, I'm middle-aged. Oh, I sloped up the high street with my head hung low that day. Oh, bad. I trudged home, I was like Private Hudson in Aliens. I was like, game over, man, game over. I might as well buy some fucking Crocs on the way home. And I did, and God help me if they're not the most comfortable thing I've ever worn. I have to wear reading glasses now. I have to wear reading glasses. That was a kick in the nuts. I wasn't happy about that. Because I've never had to wear glasses my entire life until, turn of the year. And I was starting to struggle. I was having to trombone everything, you know what I mean? I went to the opticians and, yep, I am Mr. Magoo. Bad, I felt bad, I did. I mean, the optician that tested me, he broke it to me very gently. He was kind of like, well, your near vision has deteriorated quite badly, Mr. Scott. But it's okay. It can be easily corrected with glasses that you'll just have to wear for reading and writing and close work like that. You'll be fine. That's all he said. All I heard was, "You're going blind, old man." Get yourself a white stick and a Labrador. It's happening. I was so full of anxiety about it because I've never had to wear glasses. I had no idea what I was going to look like with them on. I was really worried. The day I went in to pick them up, it was like I was going in to see my crack dealer or something. I went into Boots all furtively. I'm here for my glasses. Picked them up in a little brown paper bag. And then I took them back to where I'd parked the car in the farthest, darkest corner of a car park. Hunkered down in the seat like that, put the mirror down. I was like, oh, actually, that's not that bad. That that's okay. I didn't look like the dweeb I was going to, so it wasn't, it wasn't a bad result. My wife, incidentally, thinks I look rather sexy with my glasses on. Yeah. Which, if nothing else, is probably just proof that she needs a pair of her own. I'm getting in the swing of it now. Probably because that's the second bottle. The funniest thing about my glasses, my needing glasses, was actually my dad's reaction. He thought it was brilliant. My dad has always worn glasses. He's worn glasses since he was a kid. And the fact that I now had to wear them, he thought was amazing. He came round to our house the day I picked up my new glasses just to see them. That's the kind of lunatic we are dealing with. He lets himself in the back, comes in, grabs a pair of glasses off the worktop, pops them on, goes, right, I want to see how small a print these babies work on, and starts looking around trying to find something to read. And my wife leaned over to me and she went, Dave, those are my sunglasses? I was like, I know. Are you going to tell him? Yeah, in a minute. My poor old dad. Because they were very obviously a woman's sunglasses. They were like big black ones with diamonds on the front. So there's my dad stumbling around our kitchen looking like Elvis going, fucking hell, these are a bit dark, aren't they? What prescription are these? That's something that's something that worries me about getting old, is turning into my dad. Because you do hear about it happening, doesn't it? You know, lads, we turn into our dads, ladies, you turn into your mums. And I love my dad dearly. I could do a lot worse than turn out like my dad. But he is barking. Some of the stuff he comes out with, it's just lunacy. I went round to visit him, and there was a mobility scooter on the driveway, where the car normally is. I'm like, oh God, he swapped the car. And I go in, and I go to where Dad's in the shed. My dad's one of those men who's always in the shed. It doesn't matter what time of day, you could go around at 4 AM and he'd be in the shed. And I went in there and he's lathing. I know nothing about wood. I don't even know if this is the right mind for lathing. Looks more like a tombola at a village fete. Pink 35. But anyway, he's busy there. And I went, Dad, there's a mobility scooter on the drive. I was like, yeah, I bought it off Tony. Okay, that's the only explanation. I was like, you don't need a mobility scooter, Dad. And he went, I don't need one yet. This was about 7 years ago, all right? My dad still doesn't need a mobility scooter, thank God. He's perfectly able-bodied. So for the last 7 years, he's had a mobility scooter in his garage, gathering dust, because one day he might need it. He's a man who likes to plan ahead. I wouldn't be surprised if elsewhere in the garage there's also a coffin. Yeah, it probably is. On the lathe. He's probably got an urn in there as well so he can hedge his bet. I love him dearly, but he cracks me up. I was round at my mum and dad. Again, this was some years ago. This was before I was married. This is when I was living on my own. And I was round at mum and dad's, and I've been there for most of the day, and I was getting ready to leave, and I suddenly thought, oh, bugger, I haven't got anything in to eat back in my flat. So being a nice, selfless only child, I started to raid mum and dad's fridge. And I shout, Dad was in the lounge, and I shout, Dad, can I have this chicken breast? My dad shouts back, what do you want it for? To eat, Dad. Oh yeah, all right, of course you can. That wasn't his first thought. When I asked for his chicken, his first go-to wasn't what did he think I was going to do? Put a bit of string on it and take it for a walk? Take it for a romantic meal? Nice table for two, me and my chicken breast? Ah, to us. Try the pulled pork. My favourite dadism of all time, which I'll share with you now, because I love you. Dad announces he's going to take the chimney down off his house. My dad has a chimney, well, he had a chimney on his bungalow, but there was no fire underneath. It was all blocked off. There's an electric fire in there, so there's no point having a chimney. It was offending him. He decided it had to go. And so he announces it. I'm taking the chimney down. Sorry. I'm taking the chimney down. And I made the stupid suggestion that perhaps, maybe, he might be getting a bit old to do that. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I know no fear. He wasn't happy about that. I'm perfectly capable. And I'm not saying you're not capable, Dad. I'm just saying, obviously, you know, you are of more mature years now, and if you fall off the roof, because you're up there like Topple, and you do your hip in, that's game over, isn't it? So please, just spend a bit of money, get a man in, get someone to take it down, and then, you know, job done and you'll all be safe. I'm quite capable of doing it. Okay. I've made my opinion known, Dad. We'll go with that. I poked the bear with a stick no longer. I left it be. Flash forward a couple of weeks. I go around to Dad's house. Chimney's gone. I go in to see him. You alright, Dad? Yeah. It might even be the same bit of wood, for all I know. This one piece he's been working on my entire life. I see the chimney's gone. Yeah. Oh, I did like you said, I didn't do it myself. I got someone in. I was like, you did it, Dad? No, I did. I said, Dad, you didn't. You did it yourself. Oh, yeah, all right, I did it myself. I said, okay, it's too late to be annoyed. I wish you hadn't done it, but, you know, I'm glad you're all right and you've made a nice job of it, fair play. And I left him to it, and then we were having dinner. While we were eating, in silence, as we do. Dad doesn't talk when he eats, it's very strange. And we just sat there, and eventually he just piped up and went, how did you know I'd taken it down myself? I said, because you left your toolkit on the roof. Big bright red snap-on toolkit. I've been looking everywhere for that. That's what I've got to look forward to. I'm scared. Hold me. Because I'm not being personal, it's not just my dad, it's all dads. I know, something happens to a man when he is a father and he reaches a certain age, he just goes crazy. My mate Pete, right? My best mate Pete from when I was growing up in school, he lives in Canada now, lived out there for a while now, and he lives near a place called Ottawa. Now, for those of you that might not be familiar with the geography of Canada, Ottawa's in the north. And although itself, it's quite heavily populated, you've only got to go like a couple of hours out and you are proper in the wilds. And I mean like, not like here where you go to Holden Hill and go, oh look, a hedgehog. I mean proper in the wild where there's just snow and bears. And after Pete and his family had been out there for a bit, got themselves all established, they invited Pete's mum and dad over for a visit, bless them. Pete's mum and dad still live in Chelmsford, still live in the house that Pete grew up in. And I'm quite sure Canada was the furthest they'd ever been. And they get there, and Pete was really keen to impress his dad. He wanted to show his dad some of the real Canada. So they load him in the truck one day, and Pete drives his dad out miles and miles and miles, right out into the back of beyond, right out miles away from anywhere. And they go up onto this plateau where it's literally just snow to the horizon, as far as you can see. No sign of human habitation whatsoever. Not a footprint, not a building, not a car, nothing. Just the planet in all its splendour. And they stood there on this plateau, and I'm guessing Pete was hoping for some kind of moment. And he went, what do you think, Dad? And his dad went, it's a lot of trees. That was it. That's all Pete got. It's a lot of trees. Oh. I tell you, we're doomed. And that's what I've got to look forward to, because I am a father as well as being middle-aged. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging my ability to procreate. Well done, Dave. A woman let you have sex with her. Hey! Yeah, twice. Just to make sure she really didn't like it. Oh. Yes, because middle age isn't stressful enough. Let's chuck a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old on top. Woohoo! It's interesting being an older parent to younger children. It's genuinely interesting in that you get to experience the perception of age from two completely polarising ends of the spectrum. For example, what I mean is, if you ask me how old I am,
how old are you?
Well, this is it. I'm going to be coy. I'm going to tease you. I'm going to be evasive. You might get, I'm 44-ish. Yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room in that ish. But you show me a small child, any small child, that isn't bursting at the seams to tell you how old they are to the minute. How old are you? I'm 5 years, 4 months, 3 weeks, 6 days, 2 hours, 40 minutes and 32 seconds. And I'm a Pisces. Bless them, they're so chuffed about how old they are. It's something they're so proud of. I think older people, we should try and remember that, you know. Because bless them, kids don't care about time. It's a wonderful, wonderful part of your life. Time means nothing. You're not on a schedule. You're not on a clock. It's lovely. We don't appreciate it until we get older and we have to live on a schedule or on a clock. We should make the most of it. How many kids do you know that have an Outlook calendar? Doesn't happen, does it? George, do you want to come and play in the park? Oh, better check my diary. Oh, I can't. I've got to play on the swings at 3. Then I've got a Zoom meeting. I can probably squeeze you in on Wednesday. All I've got to do on Wednesday is at 4, I've got to pull Lulu's hair. That's about it. So we should be all right then. It is an interesting thing. Because we were locked down with kids as well. That's hard. I can't complain too much, obviously, because, as I said, our children are very small, so we didn't have to worry about any of that homeschooling stuff, which I'm very grateful for. I've got friends who've got older children, and it was not their happiest time. You'd ring them up and you'd be like, how's the homeschooling going? And you just got like sobbing coming down the phone at you. I don't understand it and I'm the grown-up. But, you know, and I'm glad because I'm a man who knows his limits and I would have struggled with homeschooling, I've got to be honest with you. You know, I mean, I didn't really take a great deal of responsibility with my own schooling, never mind anybody else's. I think I probably would have just declared the first day an inset day and gone back to bed. Yeah, no school this week, teacher training. Yeah. Teacher's going to learn how to binge watch Netflix and drink 48 consecutive cups of coffee. Here's some crayons, go and draw a dinosaur. Anywhere, preferably all day. Thank you. But you still had to keep them amused all day when you couldn't go out. And that's hard, because there's only so many things you can make out of loo rolls. By the end of it, or decoupage paper. I'm so glad we stockpiled this, maybe that's why. But by the end of it, we were getting increasingly desperate in our methods to keep them amused. My wife walked in and was watching TV at one point, she was like, Dave, what's this? I'm like, Die Hard? I don't think it's appropriate for the children. Oh, it's all right, it's a Christmas film. And it is. All right, we are not having that argument, all right? It's not a debate. Die Hard is a Christmas film, possibly the greatest Christmas film ever made. Thank you. It's a film set at Christmas, therefore, ergo, a Christmas film. Greatest Christmas, probably second, well, yeah, close second comes The Muppet Christmas Carol. Don't be coming at me with your Love Actually shit. Love Actually. Love Actually. I hate Love Actually. I really do. Why don't you like Love Actually? It's nice. It's not nice, it's creepy. Yes, thank you. Nobody in that film behaves like an actual human being. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm not a big fan of the whole oeuvre, to be honest with you. All of them, Love Actually, Notting Hill, Forward, they all take place in this horrible, sterilised version of London where everybody's really nice to each other and it's really clean and there are no homeless people. Like, anywhere. Like, not even in the background. It's like they've been deleted from history. No, I'm not a big fan of Love Actually. The only thing I do like about those films is that Americans watch them and think that's what London's like. So they visit. Oh, that's a rude awakening when they come out the doors of Heathrow Airport. Oh my God, what's that smell? That's London, Hank. Enjoy. But yes. So yeah, we got through lockdown, just about. And one of the nice things about lockdown, there was a lot of nice things about it, but being locked in with children meant that we didn't have to go out with children. So for the whole of 2020, I didn't have to set foot in a single soft play. Thank you, COVID! I'm not a big fan of the soft play experience. People say to me, why don't you like soft plays, Dave? And I say, because they're a lie. The concept of soft play is sold on this entire fabrication that your children can frolic without you, unsupervised. While you sit there having a coffee, pretending you still have a life. It's rubbish. I don't want to be the one to burst the bubble for anybody planning on having children, but your children will not be frolicking without you, watching them like hawks until they're at least 30 and they've moved out. And even then, you're still going to get stuck with the laundry, all right? I can guarantee it. No, you always end up having to go on the soft play, so that's what soft play is to the parent. It's 45 minutes of Daddy here crawling around on his hands and knees through a padded labyrinth full of homicidal toddlers that are all trying to kill each other. It's like the Hunger Games in there. I actually incurred an injury in a soft play. I shit you not. I was on one with my son. It was a massive one. It was like 3 floors, and we were right at the top, and we were crawling through this big long plastic tunnel, and we got to the middle where, of course, obviously, where it's just as far to go back as it is to keep going, and my knee suddenly made this noise that I'm pretty sure your knee's not supposed to make. It was a sort of a horrible cross between a crack and a whistle. And it really, really, really hurt. And I was in agony of and an uncaring 3-year-old just clambering over my face. Even my own son didn't care. He was like, "You're slowing me down, Dad." I had to be helped off. By 2 women. Be helped off a soft play. Possibly the most humiliating experience of my life. Quick trip to minor injuries. I've got housemaid's knee. Yeah, thank you. That's the doctor that diagnosed me. That is genuinely how he said it. He went, "You've got housemaid's knee." Like I'd won a game show or something. Thanks a bunch, mate. The most emasculatingly named injury you can get, and I got it in a fucking soft play. My life, I tell you. So yeah, so since then, not a big fan of soft plays, or actually kneeling down in general anymore. Still, the bonus is I can now join in with proper middle-aged conversation, which as far as I can see just involves moaning about what parts of your body don't work particularly well anymore. What, you got a bad knee? You want to talk to Gareth? Gareth!